Hi, everyone, and welcome. Wow, we are in pretty intense energies, aren't we? They're rolling in, and they have a lot of people are experiencing them as very punchy and, yeah, very intense in the body as well as in the head. So I've got notes here from the last few days. We know that October is going to be full of energies that shift and change as we come to the end of this cycle and the beginning of the new. It's the end of a whole era, really. There's this real sense of we're watching a movie and someone hit the pause button. And so there's this notion of feeling in suspension as though we're being stretched to wait for whatever is coming. Hi, Dana. And it's really felt like that. And so for me, it's felt like we're watching the movie and the pause button is on. Everything is held in suspension, or we've left this old world and we're stretched out and we haven't quite landed in the new world. And so this may be your experience also. So the idea is to be in the neutral position, to fill yourself up with love. There's huge energy that can be filling our hearts, to sit in your heart, to keep expanding in your heart and the energetics of your heart. There's this widening aspect going on, and just observe what is going on. Make no judgments, make no conclusions, and just be. So there's this final clearing occurring. Think deep carpet clearing and cleaning at your house, and all the walls are being washed and the windows are being cleaned, and that's where we're at on the earth. It's the level of clean you do when you have sold your house and you're moving out for final inspection. So earth is being cleared and cleaned to that level. We have increased light intensity. It's transformative light. And to me, it shows up as this very kind of blue-white light, and then some yellow and gold, those two spectrums. Hi, Anna. So I want to give you this. Reach into your own mastery. Each is on the spectrum of this. It may be that you are beginning to recognize your own particular area or areas of mastery, or that you may be developing mastery, or that you are refining the nuances and up leveling in your mastery. But this is definitely a focus at this time. And all are having an experience of observing more falling away as the greater arrives, settling more deeply into self, into one's own inner master and mastery, wisdom and knowledge. There's also this sense of greater knowing of self and of groundedness within self. It's as though we have to really come into our own depth and be connected in that way. I'm moving out and cleaning. Yeah. Hi, Misha. Hi, Champion for the Cause. Welcome. So you're being asked to come into this sort of inner groundedness, this inner deep connection with self. And I want to say, do it with more assuredness. You are the master. It's time to start claiming that. So ask yourself, what are my inherent gifts and talents and qualities? Where does my mastery lie? What is the area of it, and what is its focus? When I tune into that, where will it take me? As in, what will be the next part for you to play, the next role, your next work, and how will I use it, and how will it develop into what I become? And then ask, what serves me no longer? What have I already released and am coming into clarity about as you are witnessing this evolution of yourself? There's also this kind of gathering occurring. It's hard to know how it will show up, but metaphorically and in an imagery way, and the energy of it is this, that souls are being pulled to where they belong. And so there's this self-selection gathering occurring. So all souls now, they've made their decision about where they're going to be and what they're going to do and who they will be with. And this movement is very much kind of, it sort of showed up like the swirling mists of time to me, as though if you imagine moving white and dark chocolate with a stick into spirals and swirls, that's how the movement showed up. It's as though, and that's the souls, the beings, and it's as though it's this impression of the soul is taking you to where you have to go, and you might not know where that is or who that's with. And there's just this, I don't know, it's kind of delicious to watch. Not that I'm a chocolate fan, I hadn't even thought about it being like chocolate, but it's as though our soul is taking us, and in our cognitive knowing, we might not know where that is. And it's like this self-selection is occurring without our cognitive knowing. Oh, that's right. So people showed up a bit like unconscious zombies lining up and forming circles after they'd gone through this swirling. And then as though there's this activation that creates joy and jubilation, as though everyone unconsciously arrived and then recognized how amazing they feel. So it's quite it was an unusual thing to witness. It was an unusual thing to feel into, but and I can't really tell you any more than that, but it's this sense of this inner guidance taking us somewhere that might be relatively unknown to us in our consciousness, but we'll just be guided to be there, and then it's as though we get some new level of awakening. It would not surprise me if this is in readiness for the solar flash, and we know that we know we've already been getting these in various increments, and we know that we are getting a big one on the 11th, and that we have been receiving lots more, or been observing lots more emissions from the sun. So I'm showing that all of this is very soul-driven actions that may not be recognized until physical arrival and recognition of the feelings of love and joy arising in the body. So in my writing of that, and in the October overview, how Gaia said there would be surprising revealings. Well, that was a bit of a surprise to me. I also want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the body, because that's quite massive. So over the last few years, our hair has been changing. So I might just deal with the head, because there's a lot. And I know, I have a couple of friends who've been losing hair, and other people talking about that. And I feel like a lot more of my hair comes out when I brush it. And when I asked Gaia a little bit about that yesterday, she said hair has been and is changing into crystalline strandings. Now, here she is. Oh, it's so good how she shows up so clearly today. Thank you. Thank you, camera. Her hair, I had to edit her hair. When I met her, her hair was meters long. It was like right down to the ground and touching the ground, and very, very crystalline in nature. And so this is, it hadn't occurred to me that that's what's happening to our hair. But I had my mum here for a few days, which was really lovely. And I said to her, look, Mum, this is a hair from my head. And she laughed and she said, it's white. And I said, I know. And I don't know, like I can't see them anywhere, but I see these hairs that fall out and they're white. And yet I can't kind of find them anywhere in my head. And when you look at it, and I've looked at mine under a textile magnifying glass, and it shows up, it reminds me of when you look at cotton under the microscope. It has sections, it has segments. So it's hollow, Gaia says, but it's hollow in nature. It appears in sections similar to cellulose fibers, and these are becoming greater receptors like antennas. So this is what's been happening with the hair, and I'm not sure what more will happen with it, but that's the little bit I got this morning. And then there's this thing about the air and about breathing, and that might seem like a stupid thing to say, because of course we need to breathe, but we've spoken before about this heart breath, and it shows up like that to me. So I've written quite a lot about it, and I'll read it here. So Gaia is saying that breathing in the air is important at the moment, and it's because there's this breathing into the heart. So it's, we're taking breaths, but they're not like down into the belly breaths, are here. And there's this sensation of the heart stretching. That's the expansion through the heart. That's where the breath is going, out and in, open and closed, across the entire heart area, the chest. It's this experience of expansion and retraction as slightly different to the rise and fall of the breath. And this will assist in, see, it's so funny when I get to say these things that are deep truths. I can feel this kind of teariness beginning to well up. This will assist in greater activation of the heart vortex and its level of sensitivity. Breathing in this way will have an activation effect on the cells, enlivening and awakening the cells, and you will begin to feel the cells tingling. So just be using that as a practice. This air is carrying plasmic and photonic light, holding the qualities required for upgrades and activations, harnessed and activated by the sun, working in conjunction with the crystalline grids and your increasing crystalline nature as your percentage and quotient of liquid light increases. So at the moment, we have been having upgrades in all sorts of ways, but let's talk about the head. So I spoke about the hair. We've been having audio upgrades, and just before, when I started to come on, I'm like, oh, all right, so now we're having more of that as well, and it's quite it's like a piercing sound in the ear. It's an aching noise, and so that's, for me, I felt it in this ear, and I want to tell you, in my body, I often feel like I hear things from the past in my left ear and things from the future in my right ear. So Sinead's saying that's crazy. She's been losing hair and never had that in her life. Yeah, so I don't freak out about you going bald. I want to say, just know that this is this turnover. Yeah, so in the ears, it's like when you have an earache and you're in the wind. It's that kind of feeling, and this is the audial aspects being opened up. And I I got interrupted, but I started to tune in, and so I do need to go back and find out a bit more about this. But I got shown it's like there's some kind of extra. I got told it was a bud, like a little growth, a little bud in the inner ear that calibrates differently to these finer frequencies as our ability to receive on the audial spectrum is being enhanced at the moment. So everybody will get upgrades in all aspects, and I always think and feel that it comes with the one that you're the best at first. So you keep your focus on upgrading the particular clear gift that you're best at, and the rest fall into place. I believe my audio is my kind of weakest, even though I do hear things, but my clairvoyance is my greatest strength, and then my ability to feel through the body. What else is here? Oh, yes. So these third eye upgrades. So for many, these third eye upgrades have been going on throughout the last few years as well. So you might feel this in two ways. You might feel this kind of general, sometimes it's as though somebody's, and often when I take people into Gaia's cave and they're ready, that's what she does. She activates their third eye with her thumbprint, and it's like I see her smudging it, and often it's like has like a green tinge to it. It's like a tattoo. Sometimes a tattoo shows up after she's done the imprint, as though people have various imagery that sits around the third eye that shows up in a variety of shapes, but often in that color, that pale, like a sage green, a gray green. So here, and then if you feel down the back of your head, there's that soft part, the top of the neck and the bottom of the skull, and that's your occipital bone. And my understanding is that's like the back entry of your third eye, and that there's, as though, just think this energetically, there's a tube that runs from that point to your third eye. And so that is like a, has this kind of look of a telescope, if you like. So the energy or information or imagery comes in through there, and then you perceive it through here. I have been shown in the last few years that people will go through these upgrades that hold a lot of triangulations. So a lot of triangles being formed within this area of eye upgrades. So it can be forming between the physical eyes and the third eye. So that's one triangle. The physical eye and the pineal, which sits down in here. And also the third eye and the temple. So that's another triangulation. And then there are other triangulations between each of those that form into kite shapes. And they sit in here, on a slant. But it's the pituitary, the pineal, the temples, the physical eye, and the third eye, front and rear. So there's lots of triangles that form into kite shapes that then kind of sit in on this slight angle. And eventually what will happen is this, and I've had this experience, and you might already know this, but I've had this experience maybe twice. So I am in meditative space. I believe that this will happen for us in terms of being able to do it with our eyes open. So we'll be able to see through our third eye with our physical eyes open, and lots of people can do that already. And then this. So this is quite unusual, but go with me on it. So one eye, and I'm not sure which yet, but one eye has this ability to be like a telescope. So it can be viewing one component here, and then it can zoom in like a very good telescopic lens and so you can look further in and you can like expand the image so you can get a close up. So that's, I've seen that happens. And then in the other eye, so whichever it is, and I'm not sure which, it's as though you can it divides up and you can see. I think when that happened, I could see 3 images in one eye. So I could see my reality, whatever that is, this physical, tangible world. I could see that in one lens, and that was like a movie camera. And then in these 2 lenses, one was scrolling across, and that was of a different scene, and the other, I can't remember, but it was something else. So this is going to be how our eyes will upgrade, is my understanding. That's my perception of it. That's been my experience of it. So just be aware of that, I guess. Oh, and then there's this other thing that's happening with the nose. Now, I I haven't got all the details on this, but there's something that's being activated that comes from the tailbone, that comes in with this new coding, these light activations. It comes up through the spinal fluid and it comes up across the head and it comes down and into through the third eye and down into here. And so I think the furthest I've noticed it coming down is about halfway down the nose and the cartilage of the nose. And this is to do with our olfactory upgrading, being able to, I think it's called clear gustation, maybe. I might just look that up. Excuse me, just a moment. I'll just pop this in here. No, clear gustance it is. Okay, so it's to do with that. It's the psychic ability to experience the physical sensation of taste without anything entering the mouth. So it relates to that. I'm just going to put in nose. See what it says. Okay, that might be. Oh yes, it is what I said before. Hold on. Clear olfaction or something. Oh, it's also called clear alience, a highly developed sense of smell. Anyway, this is what this energy, if you're feeling energy coming down into here, it may be to do with that. It's this idea that we can have smell things psychically. So it's not that it's physically in your presence, it's that smells can be coming in to give you some sensory experience of something that's to come or something that links in to whatever you're seeing. And so that's another upgrade that's happening at the moment. Yeah. So you might notice the sensation as though it's kind of spiraling or winding up through from your tailbone. Now, also, if we're talking about the head, so the teeth, the gum, and the jaws, they hold, or we hold, anger, resentment, a little bit of frustration, that kind of energy gets held in those areas. And those, this morning I was guided to tell you that we should be massaging, like with our thumb under, starting at the chin and up here and into behind the ears, that we should be doing that as this massage to help any residue be released from that area. Yeah, so Gaia used the word milking. It's like milking this area to release anger, resentment. And also she said that these activations, so, somebody who's really highly developed in their psychic abilities, and somebody who is just new to them, that will all be different, but they're kind of operating a bit like a relay, as though there's an activation, an upgrade that happens in one area, and then when that is complete, it's as though it passes the baton to another area and that does an upgrade. But it's, you think like the spiral in here, it has such significance in our ascension, that where each of us is traveling that up that spiral and all of those upgrades individually and collectively. And it's the same with this upgrade. So she's saying when one area is completed to a certain level, that is the level of upgrade and frequency, it signals to the next or to the related area to begin, because we're learning how one chakra area has a link to another, and the sequences may be different for everyone, and this also links to the level and stage of development in the energetic body. So that's what I've got for you today. But just in kind of keeping with this theme of what's going on, so it's it feels as though there's this greater opportunity for us to really come into trust. To come into trust so deeply that we can almost grab it. We know it. We've got this. We are just in these final nuances of all of this progression. And to remember that the timing thing, so the stretching of time, so there's a couple of aspects to that. Yes, there's been some interference, some intervention. Also, it's taken longer. It's taken longer for this clearing and cleaning to be moved out. And so that, can leave people feeling quite stretched. And we just have to keep dropping in and sinking in to, I'm going to be fine. This is going to work out. The guidance will come. When I'm prompted to move, that's when I will move. And otherwise, be in deep inner contemplation with self. Be your own wisdom keeper. Ask your body to give you indicators of what you need to do and what you need to do next. But be very present with what is, because it kind of shows up to me as it's a bit like, we are being, held underwater, like we are the blowing up balloon and we're being held underwater and we just can't be held there for too much longer. But when we are released, it will feel like that. It'll be like straight to the surface. It will be straight to the next. It will be, we will have landed and evolved and ascended to another level. It can happen very, very quickly, even though at the moment it feels prolonged and stretched and elongated with the pause button on. Okay, so let me just answer a couple of these questions. And hello to people I haven't said hello to. Thank you for joining me here. Your throat and crown chakra upgrades, Lauren, is saying. Sinead's talking about losing hair for ages. Dana's saying the same. I never know whether it's woo life or wool life, or it says, totally agree about pause being left in suspense. Feel like an idiot not trying to start something new in life or to work. Maddening being so awake and having to wait so long. Yeah, it kind of is, and it's kind of the test. So we just have to keep dropping into deeper trust and knowing that it's all going to be fine. So right now, as things close off, you might be guided to start something new. But what I want to say is, don't do anything that you have to push to make it happen. Just it'll unfold if it's meant to happen. Yeah, and that's right. This lack of motivation and drive, it's teaching us to be in surrender. In fact, it's kind of forcing us to learn how to be in surrender, because we can be exhausted and not have any motivation to complete tasks or go and begin something new, and that's not the energy to begin new things in. So what I feel about this, here's the question: do you think we're being asked to start something with a level of mastery in the world as it is now? No, I don't. But I feel it's about developing knowledge of your mastery, playing with it, practicing it, expanding it, and you'll be guided to use it, because something will come in that will prompt you to do that. Okay, so in terms of we're about to potentially be in a global depression, I'd say take the we out of it. There will be those things that happen. In my view, compression creates depression, and if we resist being compressed, or if we move the compression, we won't get into depression. But this is part of it. We're still playing the game, and we're in the end part of the movie, if you like. And so there are some of the characters are still around, the dark, the deep, dark elements. Some of those are still around, and they're still, they are, as I said before, they are scrambling and scratching for their lives, because they cannot exist beyond the fourth dimension, many of them. And as we move into fifth, that will be their demise. So they are, they'll do whatever they can do. And sorry to babble, but inspiration has not hit me. No, me neither. I tell you, I've got artwork to get on with, and I have not been inspired to do that. I've got lots of projects on the go that I have not been inspired to begin, and I just feel that that's how it is at the moment, because in a way we're waiting for the rest of humanity to catch up with us, and then we'll have a sense of purpose. We'll be guided. We'll get insight as to who and how we're supposed to help. And right now it's all about self. It's all about self-care. It's all about diving deeply into who you are and what you're to do next, and just let it unfold, because these energetics are going to bring in a whole lot of new concepts, dissolve a lot of old constructs, and we'll be dealing with new innovations and new energies that we don't know very much about just yet. And so we're really in this, physical tipping over point. Yeah. So for me, for example, I have, got some sort of vague ideas about what I'm to do, but I'm not. What we do is we let them ruminate, and then we take inspired action. So when we're inspired, that's when we take the action. Otherwise, we just let them ruminate and marinate, and there'll be other beings that come in to the party, if you like, into the play of what what we do next. We're reconfiguring in our groups. We're forming new clusters, new soul connections. So I would say that we're being asked to let go. We're being asked to let go to an extent that we've never been asked to let go, and to trust that all is well, and that what is needed and required will be granted. And we are so much on the edges of that, showing up in a whole lot of ways, through from the financial economic system and replacement of. And all we have to do is be wary of attuning to it. So does this come from a higher frequency or a lower frequency? Because that will be part of what we're asked to do, is to be discerning. And yeah, it could show up in a new way, in a way that we don't yet know about. All right, I'm going to leave you now. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, the exhaustion, it's massive. And I feel that that's all a part of, forcing us to surrender, and encouraging us to relax, because the integration is easier. It's much easier for our body to integrate these frequencies when we are relaxed or asleep, because our ego gets out of the way. And this ongoing upgrade, so these lights, these codes that are coming to the sun and coming up through the crystalline grid, they're increasing in frequency, and they are increasing in their level of what they bring for us. And that's our work at the moment, is to integrate this so we can become. Remember how I've spoken about how it is as though we can think of ourselves as being a small car, like a Mini, and we're driving along the expressway or the motorway or the autobahn. And as we are driving, this car is being transformed into a Mercedes. And so that is happening as we are in motion. And that's the metaphor for what's happening to our bodies. We're moving from carbon to crystalline silica, liquid light. We are, having a degrease and an oil change and an engine change, all at the same time, this total upgrade to a whole new level of vehicle or Merkaba. And this is a process. It's massive. It's never been done before, ever in the entire history of the multiverse. There have been no beings that have ever ascended from a third dimensional form to fifth dimensional form without their soul leaving the body. And this is what we're doing. So give yourself a break, cut yourself some slack. You're doing something that's never been done in the history of the multiverse. And there's a lot of beings from around the omniverse and around the multiverse who've come to witness this. And this is all part of the micro and the macro of the evolution of our planetary ascension as well. So our Earth's body is doing that, and our body is doing that. All right, I send you so much love. Thank you for joining me. Fiona's about to take their car to the mechanic. Let me just see here. Dry, tired eyes of late. Oh, tell me about it. Honestly, I've been like that too. So you'd be interested to see what the eye specialist says. But this is all part of our eye upgrade. So if you just joined, Amanda, I spoke a little bit about that before. So our eyes are going through massive transformation. But my eyes are like that. What I've taken to do, which helps, and I notice it helps, because if I forget to do it, or like I went away for a few days and I forgot to take it with me, but I've been spraying my eyes in the morning with colloidal silver. And so I do it with my eyes shut, and then I kind of do it as my eyes are blinking. And that definitely brings ease to my eyes. But yeah, where our eyes are being upgraded, that's why I have to keep wearing these +1 glasses that I've got everywhere, because I can't read my notes easily, and I know that there'll be a time soon where I won't need to wear them again. Yeah, kisses back to Brazil, Jessica. Anyway, so much love to all of you. Honestly, we really are in amazing, incredible times, and look for the good. Hold the energy of that. Be the creator of your own reality. That's the power of your imagination, of your visualization, is to focus on where it is you want to be and how it is that you want to feel, and just allow the rest to move away, because this is going to be showing up very clearly that there's been all of this illusion, and we'll begin to see things much more clearly. And I believe that that's going to be a lot of what we see during this month. All right. Thank you. Catch you again soon.